Joining us on the phone is Senator Bill Cassidy. It's always great to have Senator Cassidy join us here on Offsides. He's a regular listener and participant. And hello, Senator. How are you today?
I am doing great. How are you guys doing?
Oh, we're good, man. The weather's nice, and it's always good to hear from you. We're going to talk. I've got a couple things. Brandon's got a couple things. Of course, I'm very curious, Senator, what your thoughts are about the caravan. This has been big news story. We've got the stories now that are conflicting about how many people are still actively in the caravan, making their way towards our border. This morning, reports were that it still ranges somewhere between 4,000 and 7,000 people. Many of them have refused asylum that is being offered to them in Mexico, very determined to get to our borders. We've done a few shows on this, and we have a lot of very opinionated listeners, a lot of people very angry about it. Now President Trump is calling troops out to the border. My question to you, sir, is what is it that you anticipate will happen if they all make it to the border and they are met by our military? How do you see that playing out? What's going to happen?
I don't think they're going to all make it to the border. And the president probably will try and establish a holding area where they have, in some legal sense, their country. I say that because these folks coming will most likely be coached by those who want open borders, just a thing to say, so that they would be granted refugee status.
Mm-hmm.
Americans are very generous. If somebody is a true refugee, we give them refugee status. But attorneys go down and coach them what to say, the exact script, and that's what they're going to use to try and gain processing, and if once processed, entry into the country, and then once into the country, never show up for their court appointment.
Yeah, and
so I think the president. Go ahead.
No, tell me this. One of the things that I saw on social media over the weekend is a concern for them coming in and not knowing whether or not they have had the proper vaccinations, whether or not they've been vaccinated for example, polio. A lot of the vaccinations that us as Americans get as a standard rule when we are when we're children. Do you know whether or not there's a vetting process where they can determine this?
They already do that. Everybody that comes is vaccinated with every vaccine that would be recommended. If they have their vaccine records with them, because there is a major childhood immunization effort in Central America, but if they don't have their vaccination record, they just revaccinate.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, thank you.
All right, spending some time with U.S. Senator Bill Cassidy. Now, y'all were just talking about physical health when it comes to vaccinations. Let's talk mental health, as you will be hosting a mental health summit tomorrow in Baton Rouge. You know, I think it's very interesting that this happens now as we've got all of the national events that have been going on. The discussion about mental health when we have some of these shootings that have happened, some of these horrible events such as the mail bombs and the synagogue shooting, and I can think of other recent shootings we've had in the past. So the mental health summit that's happening tomorrow. Tell us a little bit about what's going on there.
Yeah, so mental health is a huge issue in our state. Addiction, death from addiction. I hate to be a downer, but it's a big thing in our state. And we're having a mental health conference tomorrow in Baton Rouge, but with folks from Washington, D.C., as well as folks from other states who've done positive things in, say, Texas or Arizona, Virginia, et cetera, that have worked to kind of, if somebody's mentally ill, get them treated for their mental illness, don't lock them up. But what won't happen is that the person gets the appropriate treatment, gets put back to work, is paying taxes instead of getting thrown into jail and consuming taxes. So it's good for the patient, family, it's good for society. So we're going to have a conference on that tomorrow. Folks are welcome to come. It's from, I think, 9 a.m. to 2:30, and it's going to be a really good conference.
Let me ask you this. What do you hope the conference is able to accomplish?
Yeah, so we'll have federal partners there. And by the way, Judge Marilyn Castle will be there from Lafayette.
Okay.
Lafayette's done some very good things as regards how to divert the mentally ill out of criminal justice into a more appropriate place to treat. So she will be one of our speakers there. But what I hope to happen is to have folks from all levels of our government interact with folks from all levels of government in other states as well as federal officials. And how do we get a system here which, again, is better for the taxpayer, and better for the patient, better outcomes at a lower cost. That's what we want.
All right, Senator Bill Cassidy has been our guest. Sir, we know you got a crazy schedule. We thank you so much for being able to fit some time in with us, kind of update us on what's going on. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Senator.
Hey, thank you, man.